The men are not okay. And my dad tells me, like, oh, she was so shook, like, she looked so nervous, she looked so scared. And I was just like, aha, like, yeah, like, we know, we both know. And he was telling me, like, yeah, she was so scared because she got found out. Aha, she got found out. And he was like, but you know what she did? Yeah, I made her do both of us.
Hey, beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome back to my channel. How have you all been? Hope you guys are doing great. So this lady came on TikTok to share a story of a story her father told her during his during his baby boy era, and this man went to share a story about how they a woman literally, and this has raised a conversation about, and she talked about her sister and all that, which you're going to hear the story, but this has raised the conversation of how us as women that have men in our life, and how they perceive men in their life that they grow up with, they live them, their fathers, their brothers, their uncle, the way they perceive them and who they really are like two different people. And sometimes the women in their life cannot comprehend that these men are terrible men, these men are not okay, these men are predator. I find this conversation very, very interesting because we've seen horrible things some of these men are doing out there to women, and you see their wives, their sisters, their mothers cannot comprehend that they can do that act and still want to protect them. Anyway, guys, let's go hear the sister story time and another beautiful sister also breaking down our own thought on this, and then I'll come back and share more of my thought.
The men are not okay. And I don't know if they've ever been okay, but I know when the nail was put in the coffin for me was when, I think about a year ago, I was talking to my dad and he was like reliving his glory days, and he was telling me how he was seeing this girl. Now, they weren't like formally dating or in a relationship or anything, but they would go places together, spend time together, and do grown stuff together. And he said after a while he found out that she was also seeing his friend in the same way, and he knew for a fact that she knew that they were friends. So he wanted to get his get back. So what he did was he kept it player. He acted like, he didn't know anything. He was none of the wires. He kept it pushing. He kept it player. So, she's like, oh, I want to see you. I want to see you. He's like, cool, I'm going to see you. So he pulls up to her crib, but he also brings his friend with him. And he tells him, wait in the car. So my dad goes up to her apartment. He's visiting her for a little bit. They're drinking. They're spending time together. And then they start, getting to the whoop-de-whoop. So he says right before they start, he was like, hold on for a second. And he leaves the apartment. He tells his friend to come up, and he comes back with his friend. And my dad tells me, like, oh, she was so shook, like, she looked so nervous, she looked so scared. And I was just like, aha, like, yeah, like, we know, we both know. So, like, what you gonna do now, what you gonna do now? And he was telling me, like, yeah, she was so scared because she got found out. Aha, she got found out. And he was like, but you know what she did? Yeah, I made her do both of us. And he told me that, and he was, like, so proud. And I was like, so, you guys ready?
Exactly that.
And he's like, nah. And I'm like, but you did, though. And I'm sure to this day, he'll say, no, that's not what happened. But the things that he described, I'm like, that was not consensual. You said she was frightened. You said that she looked nervous. She was afraid. And, and then you made her have intercourse with both of y'all. And he's like, well, she used to do it with him and she did it with me. So what's the point? What's the difference between doing both of us? Consent. Mm-hmm. Consent is everything. Like, if you found that out and you really wanted to do it with her and your friend at the same time, you could have just called ahead and asked her, hey, I know you seen my friend, but we trying to do something. What you trying to do? And if the answer is no, it's no. It's not no, oh, you're going to spring it up on her. She's shook. She's terrified. And now she probably feels like fight or flight. She got to see this through in order to ensure her safety. The men are not okay. Some of your dads aren't okay. True. My dad's not okay. So I posted a video 3 days ago. And if you haven't seen it, go back, watch it, and then come back here so that what I'm about to say makes sense. If you've already seen it, as a result, my sister called me. This is my sister that I share a father with. And this is how the conversation went. So she calls me on FaceTime, and she goes, so I saw your TikTok. I said, yeah. And she goes, so why did you feel the need to post that? I said, because I could. And she goes, well, why did you tell that story? I said, because it came to mind. I said, I've been thinking, and that's something that came to my memory, and I felt like sharing it. And she said, of all the other stories you could have told, you chose to tell that one. And I said, yeah, I was like, I've got other stories I'm gonna tell too, and other ones that I've recorded, but yeah, I chose to tell that. And she was like, well, why would you post that if you no longer have a relationship with someone? She's like, if they're not in your life, you're not talking to them, why would you post that? I said, because I can. And regardless of whether I have a relationship with that person, if it's something that happened, it's something that's the truth and something I feel like sharing, I'm gonna share it. So she goes, okay, well, would you mind taking it down? I said, I would mind. I'm not gonna take it down. And so she goes, okay, well, if you're not gonna take it down, then as of right now, I no longer want to have a relationship with you. And I told her, okay, that's fine. And that was it, we hung up. So I'm not surprised that this happened, and I'm understanding, because the difference between me and my sister is she grew up with him in her life as a father. She knows the type of father he is. Whereas me, I didn't get to know him until I was probably like 20, 21. And by the time I was an adult, I was no longer looking for someone to play the father role in my life. I wanted to get to know him as a person so we could kind of start somewhere. So I got to know him as a man. And the man I got to know him to be was not a good one. So my sister knows him as a father. I don't know if she knows him to be a good father or not, but she knows him as a father. I know him as a man. And the two realities that we have, they conflict with one another. Yeah. So the truth that I'm telling and the story that I'm retelling is probably something that she's never heard before. And it conflicts with, who she knows him to be. Yeah. And it probably really is jarring and heartbreaking. A lot of people in the comments were like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe he would tell you that. Like, how do you feel? Like, if my father told me something like that, like, I would be heartbroken. Well, I already experienced that heartbreak before. And once I got to know him as a man and realized he wasn't a good man, that was my initial heartbreak. So him telling me a story like that, unfortunately, was not surprising, but it was disappointing. Now, for her, it probably is surprising, and it probably is heartbreaking and upsetting. So I'm understanding, her wanting to take that down. One thing that I did think was interesting was that although she did ask me to take down the video, she never asked me if it was true or not. And I think that's because she knows it's true. And I think that's what makes it hurt so much, because the truth of his actions greatly conflicts with who she knows him to be.
Yeah.
But that is why I'm saying, like, a lot of our fathers, a lot of our grandfathers, our brothers, our friends are not good men. And we can't allow their proximity to us or the love we have for them, negate that fact. It doesn't cancel that out or make them exempt from the consequences of their actions.
Yep.
And that's a part of the problem. A lot of us are wanting to protect predators who just so happen to be our fathers or our brothers or our grandfathers or men that we really care for and love.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? Regardless of whether I was close to him or not, this is something he told me. And I felt like sharing because I think a lot of us have stories like that, or we've witnessed something like that, or we've been subjected to something like that. And we don't tell these stories because we're trying to protect the men that we love, who also happen to be bad men. The men are not okay. And I don't know if they've ever been okay, but I know when the nail was put in the coffin for me was when, I think about a year ago, I was talking to my dad and he was like reliving his glory days, and he was telling me how he was seeing this girl. Now, they weren't like formally dating or in a relationship or anything, but they would go places together, spend time together, and do grown stuff together. And he said after a while, he found out that she was also seeing his friend in the same way.
Please go back and watch that video for more context. But what ends up happening is that when this creator's father and his friend discovered that they've been seeing the same woman, they set her up in a position where the father of the storyteller is at the woman's house and ambushes her with the friend, and they ambush her with their knowledge of the truth. And instead of leaving it at that, they forced this woman, who was alone in her apartment and possibly already naked at this point, to have sex with the both of them as a punishment for deceiving them. These two men who she wasn't in a relationship with, that she was just spending time with casually. This creator isn't sugarcoating or minimizing what her father did in the video or in her comments, and I commend her for that. What I'm addressing, however, are the people in her comment section who are surprised and confused as to why this man felt so comfortable or wanted to share this story of his misdeeds with his daughter. First of all, and this is something the creator clarifies in the video, this man and his friend do not believe that what they did to this woman was at all. He goes on to argue with his daughter that since she had slept with them both separately, willingly, then it should be no problem for her to be made to sleep with them both against her will. And therein lies the answer. I believe that two things are happening here. Number one, this man always wanted to brag about what he did. What he did, not what he and this woman did together, not the threesome that he and his friend experienced with this willing, happy, consenting, enthusiastic woman. He wanted to brag about the crime that he committed and got away with, because all criminals like to brag about their conquests in places and with people whom they deem as safe. And for a lot of men, there is no safer place to brag about the things that they have done, the things they have gotten away with, than with their own children. This is one of the reasons why serial killers always go back to the scene of the crime, because when you can't brag about it, you've got to relive it somehow. The second, and I think is the more insidious one that a lot of women, especially the daddy's girls, simply don't understand, is that men will do anything and everything to protect the patriarchy. They care about the patriarchy more than they will ever care about women. And for a lot of men, this includes their own daughters. In telling his daughter this story, this man was relaying three very important things. Number one, he doesn't think that what he did was... So if she should ever find herself in a similar position, she shouldn't count on him, because he won't believe her at worst. And at best, he will victim blame her for having put herself in that situation in the first place. Number two, this is the sort of man who believes that if a man has ever had sexual contact with a woman in the past, or he has sexual contact with her in the present, and these were consensual, then in no way, shape, or form is he capable of in the future. So again, this is a tacit way of letting the daughter know, hey, if anything happens to you from a friend with benefits, an ex-boyfriend, an ex-husband, don't come crying to me. You slept with him consensually before. What's the big deal now? The third thing that this father is doing is grooming his daughter to be a victim. And this is something that misogynist men as well as male-centered mothers do all the time. Rather than telling their daughters and raising their daughters in such a way that the daughters will always keep their eyes and ears open and always trust their gut instinct, these mothers and fathers instead groom their daughters to ignore their better judgment, to dismiss unsafe situations, and to minimize the actions of unsafe, predatory people. Essentially, they're raising their daughters to, well, it wasn't that big of a deal, their way through life, to ignore all the ways that they have been violated and aggressed upon, and consistently make excuses for the men around them who have done them wrong. And honestly, the only thing scarier to me than the fact that he told his daughter the story is the fact that if this man has a son, he might have told his son the exact same story and had a very different reaction from that son. In fact, if he ever told this story to a son or a nephew, it might have been something more of a training manual than a brag. Misogynist men raise their sons to be predators and their daughters to be victims. But it's more than that. They teach their sons that women's autonomy doesn't exist, that a woman's body, if it brings you pleasure, belongs to you. If you desire her, belongs to you. And they teach their daughters, especially through cute little anecdotes like this, that is a very specific thing. It's not a broad thing. It's not coercion. It's not manipulation. It's not ambushing someone. It's not making that person feel unsafe. No, it's something that only happens in very finite situations and only happens to dumb, immoral, or immodestly dressed women. And in so doing, these misogynist fathers and male-centered mothers raise their children to minimize and therefore feed into the dialogue surrounding rape culture, a dialogue that protects predators and silences victims. I don't think this man expected to get this reaction from his daughter. I also don't think he understands how much damage he's done to their relationship. What I do know is he's not sorry about what he did. And if anything, he might be sorry that he ever shared this with his daughter, or at least that he waited this long to share it with her when she's already grown and she's probably no longer under his roof. And she's not as malleable, her mind, as it was when she was, say, a teenage girl. And he cannot feed her this false narrative that what he did was not a violation and was not a crime. But yeah, this is what I think about when men, especially girl dads, come on this app complaining about how the mothers of other young girls don't trust them. Yeah, having a daughter doesn't make you a trustworthy man. That other girl's mother probably clocked the fact that you're a misogynist, and that's why she doesn't want her daughter at your house after school. That's why she doesn't want her daughter going over to your place for sleepovers, because y'all are predatory, and having daughters doesn't fix your perception of women.
True.
Unfortunately, they just get brought into the fold as you recruit them and try to groom them to be victims to other men exactly like you.
Please go ahead and share your thought about this video down in the comment section. But as always, keep it respectful here on this channel. We're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a very respectful way. So go ahead, feel free, share your thought. Love to know what you guys think. This conversation is a very interesting conversation, and I think we've had this conversation some time ago. I can't even remember the particular video, but I know we're talking about how a lot of these men would a lot of when we talk about men and how men treat women and some of the crazy and horrific things men do to women, we always talk about these men are people's father, brother, uncle, husband, and all that. And the truth is that the way those men are being perceived by those people in their life is really different from who the man is really is, including even among their friends. Yeah, some of their friends may know who they are in quotes and all that, but sometimes these men are able to max it. And when you talk about some of the things that they've done, people look at you like, no, that's not who I know. That's not. And I feel like this story just even share more light on that perspective point of view. And this is why I feel like this is why a lot of men go long to be predators, because the people in their life don't want to see them for who they really are, which is they are predators. And this is why even when this predatory act happens within a family and all that, you see even some of the women that uphold the patriarchy system and some of these male-centered women, rather than then taking holding them accountable for their actions of being a predator and let them face the consequences of being a predator. This is the same women that's going to protect them, because the way these women perceive them is different for the act and who they really are. Like, oh, he's a good man, he's a good father, at least he's brother. Guys, you guys let me know down in the comment section. There's this justice for Kenya that is going on. I want to make that video, but I'm scared because my channel is already really dicey. YouTube has taken down some of my videos, like, so I'm really worried. Video that has to do with children, YouTube is very sensitive with my channel, so I'm really thinking if I should do that video. But also that justice for Chanya, which I might still make that video. Okay, you guys let me know if you guys want me to make it. I'll find a way to go around it. I want to make that video because it's bothering my soul. You'll find out that this has made a lot of Nigeria women, a lot of Nigerian girls to come out and share their story. And you hear some of them, how their mother gave them out to men. We're still talking about the Regina Daniel case where a 60 years old man is marrying a 70 years old girl, and the society, the people in our life, they don't see anything. They don't see it as a predatory behavior. And this is something that is really prevalent among us in society, especially in the African, the Nigeria. I'll say Nigeria because, like I always say, that's where I'm from. That you see predators is almost like the wife, the children. Nobody wants to believe that that is what they are. And the fact that another thing also that I also want to quickly touch is that the act of consent when it comes to sex and all that, a lot of the time, and this is something I've seen and kind of experienced it, the way they see consent, or they believe that, oh, a man cannot rape his wife, a boyfriend cannot rape his girlfriend. If she has done it before with him, it cannot be. If she has ever done it before with him willingly, if he grape her, it cannot be counted as that. She wants it. A woman will say no. Say, oh, that's how women do. They will say no, but what they want is yes. I've heard men speak like this. I've heard men say, oh, what was she wearing? I've heard men talk about, na wife be that one. How you go say man rape a wife? So imagine those men that have this ideology that still feels like a woman does not need to consent to it. They just have to take it because that's how they've been raised. They take it. She belongs to you. If she has given it to you before, then automatically you can go and take it whenever you want. Imagine that same man raising a boy child who is teaching the boy. And I feel like that's what has got into this dark place where you just see a lot of men. A lot of men don't like women. A lot of men will take advantage of women. A lot of men will prey on women. And it is what it is. But as women, we need to start having this deeper conversation and start seeing these men, our fathers, our brothers, our husbands, our nephew, for who they really are. If they have predator behavior, call them out, report them, because they out there, the way you see them is really different for who they really are. Anyway, guys, you guys let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comment section. Go ahead, feel free, share your thoughts. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversations. So go ahead, feel free, share your thoughts. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push up my content for more people to see, and that will be supporting this channel and this girl here. So go and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.